is tiring end. And now this is our last lesson in the session of God calls Abraham's family. And if we'll be reminded of what happened on last week. Last week we had, if you remember, well, further than that, Jacob had deceived his father, and now he went on the run, and he went through a lot of series of events over and over again, unnecessary events, but this is what he had to do. And at this time, he was on his way back. Okay, God, under the direction of God, he was headed back to his land, and it was time, he had a lot of anxiety. He was about to meet back up with his brother that he had been at odds with for 20 years. So there's a lot of things taking place. If you remember, he came to the brook point where he stopped, and he crossed his family over, and they described who, we discussed that. He crossed them over, and he stayed back. Because sometimes we have to understand that we have to be alone to get our right perspective of things that God wants us to see. So therefore, he stayed there. If you remember, a man came and wrestled with him until the morning came. So, having said that, now he's at another place here, and this is more or less the ending, now what we're studying today, the ending of the life of Jacob. Okay, it's coming to an end. So, and that's where we are today based on that. But what we are seeing that today is, in between this and today, we're going to see a lot of the family saga going on here. It's just drama in this family. Just like in a lot of our families, it's a lot of drama going on there. But what we're going to see today is how God can use the family in spite of what's going on. And you know what? We thank him for his grace, because he looked beyond all that to see just what he got a purpose. So, and he has to follow down with that usage. So, if somebody would please read the first, 22 through 26, Genesis 35, and we'll discuss it.
And
You go ahead. No, go ahead.
And it came to pass, when Israel dwelt in the land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. The sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Simon and Levi, and Judah and Issachar and Zebulun, the sons of Rachel, Joseph, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan and Naphtali, and the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, which was born to him in Panamam.
Okay, so what's happening here in this is giving us a little bit of the family tree, a little bit of the family tree. So it says what? Israel dwelt in the land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12. They're giving you the names of the 12 sons, okay, that was born. But the focus here is going to be Reuben. Remember, Reuben is the what? The firstborn of this. So Reuben is what? He is scheduled to if his father died, to get double the portion of what it is of his inheritance. But Reuben done made a grave mistake. Here goes some of that family drama. He done made a grave mistake here. Reuben done slept with his father's concubine. So that was a no-no. Okay, he should not have slept with his father's concubine. So when Israel, who is Judah, heard about it, it really, so he really discarded him. And that was who he was. So now that moves Reuben out of the way from having an opportunity to gain the inheritance that he was supposed to get. Now it was what? So it goes on to list everybody. And he says what? He heard about it. He heard about it, so that was all over with. So that was the first of the family soccer that was going on, the family dynamics, the family drama that was going on there. So, like I said, then he went on to name all of the sons. Okay, so at that point now we move, and this is it's not a real long lesson, but it's one that lets us know who is who. Okay, so now let's go to Genesis 38, 24 through 26. Somebody read those scriptures.
And it came to pass about 3 months after that it was told Judah, saying, Tamar, thy daughter-in-law, has played the harlot, and also, behold, she is with child by whoredom. And Judah said, Bring her forth, and let her be burned. When she was brought forth, she sent to her father-in-law, saying, By the man whose these are, am I with child? And she said, Discern, I pray thee, whose are these? And signet, and bracelets, and staff. And Judah acknowledged them and said, She has been more righteous than it, because that I gave her not to Shelah, my son, and he knew her again no more.
Okay, let's back up just a little bit. Reuben was the oldest. Then you had the next two sons. That's Simeon and Levi, right? I wanna just let you know why, because eventually you're gonna see them not in play because they're the next in line for the oldest, but they're not gonna be in play because now Reuben has done this, but you got Simeon and Levi that has committed murder. They conspired to commit murder because of somebody had raped their sister. So therefore, they have conspired now to commit murder. So now they have proven themselves to be less than desirable for the inheritance as well. So now we got the 3 firstborns out of the way. They cannot get the inheritance, okay?
Simeon and Levi.
Right, they out of there. They out of there. So now here it is. Now it says what? We go to another section of this, and it says Tamar. We bring in that Tamar, the daughter-in-law of Judah or Israel, whatever we want to call him, Jacob. We bring in Tamar, and here she is. She was married to one son. This son dies. Then she married, because it was the culture now. This is not what we look at today, but this is the culture of this time. That if the son died, the brothers to marry them, to take up, to make sure that his name is carried on and is maintained in the family. So she married another son, and he died. So now, what? Here we are. They say, no, we can't. But Judah is the son also of Jacob. Let's remember that. He is the son of Jacob. So, and this is his daughter-in-law, and this is going on. See, if we could follow this through in every chapter, you would see that the drama had just constantly been passing down. So with Judah, he did not want. She was married to his 2 sons, and he said, can y'all imagine that? This girl done married 2 of my boys.
And all
And
of
I both of them died. You ain't killing off this the buck stops here. You not gonna kill off. Now, can y'all imagine how he felt?
Like a black widow.
That's it. What's going on with you? Is it your fault that these 2 have died? So what's happened now is that Judah refused to give his last son. What's his name?
Levi. Wait,
No. Shelley. He refused to give him to marry because I ain't gonna kill off another one of my sons. But so he acted like he didn't have another son. And when Tamar found out this, she turned into kind of like a little villain type person. She found out about it. She says what? Tamar, she played a harlot. She played a prostitute. So when she did that, she went to who? Judah. She went to Judah. And she slept with him and got pregnant.
You know, if you know the story, she laid in the way in which she knew he was coming.
Right.
And she dressed herself in the way of a harlot, but she covered her face.
Right.
So he didn't know who she was.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And she was real sneaky.
She tricked him. How easily somebody can be tricked. How easily they can be tricked. It's real amazing.
In a vulnerable moment.
That's it. And he said, so what did you say? So he said, behold, she is with child. So now they bringing her to him, to Judah, because he's head of this trial. He bringing her to him. Say, hey,
The judgment.
she's with child. She done been messing around out there and hold him. So she got a child out in the street somewhere. So, all right, because she was supposed to be promised in their family, that was totally out of order.
Could you imagine how he felt though? He was excited because he didn't want to give her another son anyway. You know
Right.
what I mean? So that was the opportune
Right,
time.
you know,
possibly,
that was
because he
opportune
quickly
time,
said-
but God bless that brother.
Yes, he did.
So,
Yes, he did.
so here they come now. And I'm gonna say this to y'all this morning. This cautions us against assuming something. Presumptions take us to a bad place because when we start assuming and making these assuming things, we end up going into judgment on people. Now, these people just knew she was pregnant, but they did not understand what went down behind it. So they presumed she was automatically out there in the street doing God knows what and got pregnant. So they couldn't wait but to bring her. And the first thing that he said, just said was what? Burn her. He went from just hearing what was what and said burn her and put her to death. So there you go, you're passing judgment on something you haven't even looked at. So we need to be cautious that before we pass judgment, let's look at it closer and understand. We try to pass judgment on people we don't even know. They didn't know. We just try to pass judgment.
Yes.
We assume,
Yes.
I presume that just because they walk a certain way, they look a certain way, they are grouped into a group of people. But we can't do that because you don't never know their story. So if you don't know their story, don't try to tell their story because it ain't your story. Okay? So what I say is that, and that's what's happening, they done came and told him the story and didn't know it. So guess what now? But see, in that day, men had identification. They have a staff. Nowadays they have driving license. He have a staff and usually a bracelet or something. That because when this was over with, when she laid with him, he couldn't pay her. He couldn't pay her, so he left what? He left the staff and his bracelet, and so that's really his identification. He's supposed to go back and get it. Now, whether he went back to clear himself up so nobody would know, I don't know, but it's believed that he did go back, and she was not there to be found. So when they brought her forth and sent her to the father-in-law, saying, by this child, she says what? By the man whose these things are, I will child. And she said, discern, I pray thee, whose of these? And the signet and the bracelet and the staff. Okay, now, so, whose are these? She said, wait a minute, hold on. Let me just say something to you, King. My father-in-law. Let me just say this to you. Whose are these? Now, don't you know he hit the nerve? Because he recognized the stuff. So whose are these? He I am pregnant for the one that these things belong to.
Whatever his property.
So, he knew his property, and he all of a sudden knew that he was the one she was pregnant for. So, having said that, she said, and he acknowledged them and said, what? She has been more righteous than I, because I gave her not to Shelah my son, and he knew her again no more. Okay, so what? Now he goes from judgment back to forgiveness and conviction. Because what did he say? He said, she has been more righteous than me. You know, so he said, so here I am, let her go. We got to. And he said what? She knew her no more. He did never go back to sleep with her again. But the thing is here is that, now I want y'all to know that Judah did come back and inherit what his father had to give. Okay, he got the double portion. Why? Because he did some sinning too. What did he do different? What do y'all see here that he did different from Reuben and his brothers? What did he do different? He owned up to it. He repented. He owned up to it. He didn't fall back because he was in front of people, but he owned up to it. He repented. You know, she's more righteous than I am. This is messed up. You know, she's more righteous. But see, then he could not do anything. You know why? Because this is still in the family. The child is in the family and is in place. So she didn't sleep outside the family. She got pregnant within the family, within the same roots that she was supposed to. So she was more righteous and kept it right than he did. He thought he just was with what? A prostitute, a harlot. He just thought that's what he was with. So he was convicted of what he had done wrong. He had remorse, and he quickly corrected. Not one time did we see where Reuben nor his two brothers was remorseful for what they had done.
You know, Brother Parker, it was just so wrong how back then, it was okay for the man to go out and do the harlot. But the woman stoned her to death, burned her, you know? But the man, all right, girl.
And it's the culture. I mean, and we have to remember that. You know,
I know.
yeah,
I know,
and we
I'm just
remember that.
saying, you know,
Because now, you know, even that was kind of bled down into scientists. You know, the woman out there is going to get, but now we're looking more at both. And I thank God for that. That
Yes.
it's a two-way street. But yeah, in that culture, she knew the culture because she was smart enough to keep it within that family. You're not gonna give me your son, but guess what?
I take you.
I got you. Okay. Anybody want to say anything else? Okay. So that's where it is. So now, and he said he knew her no more. Okay, so he didn't give it to her, and he recognized his mistake, his wrongdoing. I was wrong. Okay, so it's nothing we can do to her. But we got to take care of this family. We got to take care of this child because this is a part of our family. And we got to remember something. That out of this dysfunctional family, David was born. And then the linkage of Jesus, he came out of this dysfunctional family, the tribe of Judah. So, in spite of how dysfunctional sometimes we think our families are, and what situations we think we might be facing, God, he gonna take it on down till he find that right one to do what he has purposed for that family, for it to rise out of. You know, we discount a lot of stuff, you know, even in our family. Well, he ain't gonna do this because he do this and he do that. But then, you know, his daddy did that. We got to stop that. Everything don't move generation to generation. Some people stop it. Somebody has to stop it. Okay? Let's read the last 3 verses. The real leader in the family. That's Genesis 49, verses 10 through 12. Let's skip around a whole lot here.
The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and until him shall the gathering of the people be. Binding his bow unto the vine, and his ass's coat unto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk.
Okay, so what it says, the real family leader. So here we are now. We come to the part where it says that the scepter, the ruling person should not leave this family, depart from Judah. He should not, because they're Israel. That's why he changed his name to Israel. Nor a lawgiver from between his feet until Shalom come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be. And this is really now, what this turns into in these 3 verses is a real, I don't want to say metaphor, but it's a symbolism. It turns into a symbolism / prophet. Yeah. So prophecy here is both the symbolism, because see, you're seeing, they're telling you something and they're giving a comparison, but this is prophesying what's to happen in the future. It says now, you know, he's going to be in place until the gathering of all the people. And he says, binding his fold unto the vine and his ass coat unto the choice vine. Okay, remember Jesus came in, riding on a coat, okay, and he washed his garments in wine and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Wine and grapes represent the same thing here. So, you know, you're not going to wash your garment in wine, but what is it? What the wine stand for? The blood of Jesus, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. Okay, so it's the same thing, but it's using a twofold at one time to put emphasis, I want to say, on what is to be. And his eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Okay, is his eyes really saying it's going to be red? Many believe that when it says red with wine, it's not red with wine because he has a sparkle. It comes with a sparkle, and there's what? The milk, and his teeth is as white as milk. But see, you also remember something, that when you're talking about, what is it? Wine and milk and honey, you're talking about a land of what? Plenty, a land of plenty, a time of plenty. So he is to come and to furnish us with everything we need. Okay, and somebody feel free to add to that point. He's coming to furnish us with everything we need. A time of prosperity. I mean, the land will be prosperous. Because of what? Because what? Judah chose to what? Recognize his wrongdoing and be blessed. Okay? And